Okay. Chapter 4. Where do conflicts and quarrels among you come from? That's a good question for all of us to ask. Where do conflicts and quarrels among you come from? Are they not from this, from your passions that war in your members? You covet, but you do not have. You kill and envy. You kill with slander. You kill and you envy, but you cannot obtain. You quarrel and fight, but you do not have because you do not ask. You ask, but you do not receive because you ask wickedly, that you might squander it on your pleasures. You adulterers and adulteresses, do you not know that the friendship of the world is enmity against God? Therefore, whoever would be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. Or do you suppose that the Scripture says in vain, the Spirit that has dwelt in us lusts enviously? Did we ever find where that was in the Old Testament? I don't think there's a Scripture in the Old Testament that actually says it in those words. Well, there is a Scripture that says that somewhere, or used to be.
It says it's like cancer.
That's not, well, that's a New Testament Scripture. And you think he'd be referring to that as Scripture yet? But he gives greater grace. Therefore it says, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Submit therefore to God. Resist the accuser. Doesn't that make it easier to understand than saying resist the devil? You can puff yourself up to think you're really resisting the devil and then listen to slander all day long. But when you resist the accuser of the brethren, that's real life. Resist the accuser and he will flee from you. That's the truth. Draw near to God and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Boy, he's kind of tough on these people, isn't he? Be miserable. He reminds me of what I told the people translating this. I heard Uncle Joe one time in Louisville, Kentucky, many, many years ago. I was kind of young, and they asked him how things going in North Carolina. He said, "Well, Preacher Clark's mighty tough on us, but I guess we're doing all right." That's what comes to mind when I read what James had said to these people. He said that up in the pulpit, Brother Delphi.
Sounds just like it.
Be miserable and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned into mourning and your joy into dejection. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Do not speak evil of one another, brothers. And that comment reminds me of what my father said about his travels. He said everywhere he'd go, God's people would have a different standard. He said out in, I think it was Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri, anyway, they're part of the same geographic place. He said out there, they'd go to movies all the time. Now, back then in North Carolina, going to a movie was like, oh, woo-hoo. Jim, you know about that. You homeless people did not ever go to a movie. Ugh! But they talk about each other like dogs. Now, you get out there in Kansas City, they were going to any movie they wanted to go to, but if you said a word against a brother or sister, they would just be outraged. And everywhere he went, he found a different, what was considered really bad, what was let go of. Around the central part of North Carolina, homeless people, preachers railed against tobacco, touching it even. Eastern part of North Carolina, way east, they grew tobacco and made a lot of money out of it. Uncle Joe said when the holiness preachers in the central part of North Carolina changed and allowed growing tobacco, he said he hated that. That was such a nasty thing to have to work in. He wished they had held that standard. There's a lot of money in it, but it was nasty. Just everywhere. And he said, what you need to do is learn what's best in everywhere and just live by that standard everywhere you go, and you won't ever have a problem. Just live up to the best standard everywhere. Learn to blend in with God's people. He who speaks evil of a brother and condemns his brother speaks evil of the law and condemns the law. And if you condemn the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge over it. There is one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. Then who are you that condemns another? Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this city and work there for a year and buy and sell and make a profit. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is a mist that appears for a little while and then dissipates. Instead, you should say, if the Lord will, then we will live and do this and or that. But as it is, you are boasting in your presumptions. All such boasting is evil. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. Now see, this is the kind of thing that gives me problems. I don't understand why he said therefore. I don't know. What's the connection? He's talking about boasting is evil, and then he says, therefore, which means because boasting is evil, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. So, Jonathan, you want to explain that to me? Jamie, you want to explain that to me? Okay, Ben, it's your turn. Explain that to me. I can't. I don't know why the therefore. Maybe we don't know how to translate that word. Maybe we should say, in addition to that. I don't know. I do not know why that word is there, but it was there.